What's up, guys? You are on the air and off the books with Bethann and Samantha, and today we are going to be talking about the book Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulak. Not sure if I pronounced the last name correctly, but that's what it looks like.
Rekulak, so
Rekulak. I think that's how you pronounce it. So this book, I would categorize it as kind of like a psychological horror thriller, supernatural.
Yeah, supernatural thriller. That's what I say. People categorize it as horror. I would say it's not horror. It's definitely supernatural thriller.
I would say there's like maybe a few horror aspects about it, but like not
like so scared it's like giving you chills, like gut wrenching, like crazy, anything like that. Do we want to read the synopsis or do we want to try to explain it?
We're going to read you the synopsis because when we try to explain books, we kind of jump.
We get excited.
Yeah,
we go on tangents.
Yeah, and we don't want to,
spoil everything now.
End up talking about, another book while we're trying to explain
this book. So, all right. Mallory is delighted to have a new job looking after gorgeous 4-year-old Teddy. She's been sober for a year and a half, and she's sure her new nannying role in the affluent suburbs will help her on the straight and narrow. Gosh, those are hard sentences. That is until Teddy starts to draw disturbing pictures of his imaginary friend, Anya. It is quite clear to Mallory and to Teddy's parents, even in this crude, childlike style, that the woman Teddy is drawing in his pictures is dead. Teddy's crayons are confiscated and his paper locked away, but the drawings somehow keep coming, telling a frightening story of a woman murdered, and they're getting more sophisticated. But if Teddy isn't drawing the pictures anymore, who is? And what are they trying to tell Mallory about her new home? Dun dun dun!
Dun dun dun! And thus it turns into a thriller.
Yes.
So I really liked this book. I give it a 9 out of 10. And the reason I got hooked is because it is about a girl that is nannying for wealthy people in like a nice, neighborhood. And I just, for some reason, love those books that like start out like that. Don't ask me why. It's just a thing that I like. And I would love to if I was just myself and I was not married and I did not have a child, I would be nannying, housekeeping for some rich person. Because,
really?
Yeah.
I would never. I would be like, no, I'm not cleaning that up.
But, you get to live in this, big house.
And scrutinized by these bougie as heck people. And,
That's true. But, your life is set for the time being.
That's very true. And you probably get to go on, all these trips and, and then you get invested in these children, and then you have to leave, and then it's super sad.
Yeah. And
then you don't have, a 5-star resort that you live in anymore. No. You just go back to the good old apartment.
Good old Kokomo.
With your, Easy Mac.
Yeah.
Definitely what I had for lunch the other day.
I definitely shared some Easy Mac with Samuel yesterday. But no, this book was really good. I thought it was, I never got bored throughout the whole book. There was always something happening. And I really so the little boy named Teddy, he's 5, I think.
Yeah.
And he draws these pictures, and when she's finding these pictures throughout the book, they start getting, more and more detailed.
Professional, almost?
Yeah. And my favorite part was, that the author put the pictures in the book so you could, see what they looked like.
Yes, and that's another thing, is that I listened to this. I didn't read it. And I listened to this last year and finished it in a couple days. I really liked it as well. But I would recommend that it's a great narrator. I didn't have any problems listening to the book. But if you get this book with the intent to listen to it, you should definitely check the book out and, look at the pictures. Because I picked it up a lot later when Samantha picked it up, and I was like, I didn't realize, all these pictures were in here. And it would have given it a more chilling,
Yeah, their pictures were really creepy.
Yes, and I think that is really important to the story that they're telling. And I didn't get to experience that on the audiobook. So, which
Yeah.
is fine. It didn't deter or didn't change how I felt about it. It just, I think it would have been that much more scary and thrilling if I had seen or had access to those pictures from the audiobook somehow. But you should definitely check out both. Or if you can handle it, pick the book up and actually, like, read it.
Yeah.
Were the pictures in the ebook?
Yes, they were.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would say, okay, the only thing that I didn't like about the book, otherwise I really liked it, but the one thing I didn't really, like, think was necessary to be put in the book was the fact that, like, when you first start reading in the beginning, she's in, like, this study or something where she's got this...
She suffers from drug addiction.
Yes.
And so she's going into this place, and it's like, is it a case study? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think it's a case study, and she basically has eyes in the back of her head. She can feel men watching her.
Or things or people watching her.
Yeah.
Like, and she's supposed to strip down naked in this room, and then she's supposed to, like, this is going to get spoilery at this point, I think. This doesn't really matter, but you're right, because they're gauging whether or not that she has this, like, sixth sense and, like, this extra ulterior sight on the outside of her body. And after that, and I think it was kind of cool because it kind of showcases her, like, struggles with drug addiction and everything like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know how necessary it is because it doesn't really reference that when, like, she's experiencing the haunting.
I think it references it one time.
Yeah.
And it's when she is, because she's staying in a guest house while she plays nanny for this boy. And it talks about it one time that she can feel somebody watching her. But then that's it. You never hear about it again.
Right.
And
I feel like if they would have incorporated it more into the story, it would have given it a little more of a chill feeling.
I feel like there needed to be some sort, like, of twist that involved her, like, special ability
for
to,
the
like...
study.
Yeah.
Right. It almost sets it up for, like, because at the end of it, it refers back to that study.
Yeah.
And it almost sets it up for, like, her to have, like, another thing happening to her, maybe. Yeah. And I think, like, it was really interesting because, like, where you think the book is going to end, it doesn't. It keeps going.
Yeah.
And so it explains and it tries to do its best to wrap a bunch of things up at the end. I didn't really understand the study very much, but I get it a little bit. Like, I don't think it was necessary, but I get why they did it. But I didn't know why we kept going after. Like, all of the stuff had been done, everything had been revealed, like, what was happening, and we were, like, talking about her rehabilitating with her mother and her family, and, like, dealing with her sister, and then, like, the boyfriend, and, like, all this other stuff.
Yeah, I think it could have ended.
It could have ended, and it could have been more cliffhangery than it was, and I would have appreciated that.
Yes.
But otherwise, I think the author did a really good job giving you everything that you were asking for, answering all the questions that you wanted.
Right.
I think the twist in this book was, like, so blindsiding.
Yeah, I did not expect any, like, okay, I was very suspicious of the family the entire time, like the mom and the dad. Like, they were too nice. And then the dad, when she first goes in for her interview to nanny this boy, the dad is, like, super, like...
aggressive.
Yeah, aggressive, like, not respectful to her whatsoever.
Very abusive behavior.
Yeah, and then it's, like, bam, he's like...
180.
Oh, like, you know, I'll
you
protect you.
You can always come to me. You can always... It's very, like... sketchy, like, serial killer behavior.
Yeah, and I think there are definitely some, like, trigger warnings, like drug abuse,
yes,
sexual abuse, kind of.
Yes.
So.
And then there's, like, different, and especially, like, for children, I mean, obviously there's murder here and different children triggers and stuff like that, so if you're a little sensitive to things like that, it's not really graphic.
Right.
But it is there, so you should be aware when you're going into this book that you are going to touch on the subjects and it's going to make you think. Because what essentially happens is that, and this is spoilers, so look away, avert your eyes, avert your ears.
Press stop.
Press stop. So a mother is raising this boy, Teddy, And, like, you start seeing, like, this struggle of getting Teddy into school and how, like, this mother is going back and forth with the school about getting certain records for the child.
Yeah.
And how Teddy is very particular in his behavior and, like, all this other stuff. And it kind of boils down to all of a sudden, because, and what really got me was when the parents were like, you know, bathroom time is Teddy's time and it's for nobody else and you are not to enter into the bathroom when Teddy's in the bathroom.
I didn't even, like...
Consider that?
No, I didn't even,
I thought they maybe were just protecting their child from creepiness.
Yeah.
Which made sense to me, but
nothing
it was
sunk
so,
in.
like... What got me is that when Teddy was having trouble with their swimsuit in the bathroom on the outside after they got out of the pool, and then Mallory walks in, and then she's like, oh, God, like, what is happening?
Yeah.
And, like... all of a sudden you realize that Teddy isn't a little boy.
Yeah.
And then you're like, ugh, and then it just starts crashing down on you, and then it starts going crazy, and then you realize that the dad is, like, suddenly madly in love with Mallory, and he's trying to whisk her away because his wife is crazy, and how she, like, literally abducted this kid just because she thought the mother was abusing it when the mother wasn't.
Yes. So this ghost, the ghost Anya...
crazy.
Is because they lived in, what was the country that they lived in?
Oh gosh, I don't even remember now.
So this little boy / girl was abducted from a different country. Can't remember which country. It was a foreign one. I think it was like, because she spoke Hungarian.
I think. Something like that.
So Anya was apparently the Hungarian term for mom. So that's why the little boy, Teddy, kept calling his imaginary friend Anya, because it was the ghost of his mother.
Yeah.
And he was, you know,
channeling
getting memories.
Her and getting memories and things like that from her.
Yeah. So essentially, like, these two parents, crazy parents, basically stole this child because they thought that Anya, or the mother, was
literally
abusing.
just... Yeah, she was neglecting Teddy
for her art,
because she would bring Teddy to the park to play and then paint while Teddy was there.
Mm-hmm.
And then the, like, crazy lady who's the adopted mom, or the mom that stole Teddy, was like, she would just ignore him, and I tried so hard to have a baby, and, like, we could never, and, like, you shouldn't ever, like, leave your kid just to play around. And one day the child just toddled off, and, like, that was when I knew that I had to steal Teddy away, and, like, I had to take her from this horrible woman who was not giving her the life that, you know, she deserved, and I always wanted a little boy, and, like, so I think she took the child and, like, ended up, and the mother knew, because they had gotten into, like, verbal altercations together while they were on vacation visiting, and, like, all this other stuff, because the woman was literally stalking this woman and her daughter.
Yeah.
And so that's when she ended up getting in a fight on one, you know, argument, and murdering the woman.
Yeah.
And then having her husband drag the body, bury it.
Yeah.
And then she was like, I just had to take the child, because what was I supposed to do? Like, you just can't leave the kid.
So she, instead of, you know, just leaving this child as a girl, she's like, no, I want a boy, so we're going to shave his head.
Yeah, cut his hair. And she was just like, and then it was perfect because nobody was going to be looking for a missing boy.
Right.
They were just going to be looking for a missing girl. And so she was just like, and they were young enough for me to be able to influence their decisions, teach them, like, blah, 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 or whatever. So
it was messed up.
It was so crazy. And then when, finally, when Mallory was putting the pieces together, like, obviously she's attacked by the mother. And the mother's like, you ruined everything, and it's going to be fine, because when all this is over, I'm just going to blame it on you and your drug abuse. And, like, then nobody's going to come looking after you.
And now I understand that's why the mom was so, like, gung-ho about hiring Mallory, because she had a history.
Yes, and she was using that to her advantage, because she thought that if anything ever happened, she could dispose of her easily and just blame it on. And at one point, like, she had this girl tied to a chair and was, like, trying to, like, shoot her up with drugs, and, like,
ended up being baby powder.
Yeah.
Because the crazy husband was like, I love you too much for you to die.
Yeah, and then the woman killed her husband, and she's just like, oh, well, you know what, it's just going to be me and Teddy, and, like, I never needed you, and, like, Oh my gosh, it was insanity.
It was a crazy, like, last couple chapters.
And they even killed the neighbor.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was so good.
Yeah. It was good.
It's definitely more of a suspense thriller to me than it is, but there is that paranormal. And I feel like if you're trying to get into like horror / paranormal, this is the transition book for you. This is the book that's going to help you go from, mystery thriller into something more like occulty or otherworldly or like ghosty or like stuff like that, because it's not shoving it down your throat and like the crucial part of the story, but it's just enough to give you like the shivers and like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next?
Yeah.
So I think this is something that we highly recommend for sure. I don't think we've read anything quite like it, honestly.
No, I can't. I'm trying to think of books that are like kind of similar to that. The only thing that like kind of reminds me of it, but not really, is Frozen Charlotte. But
yeah, but it's not as horror. It's not as scary as that. And then I was thinking of Libba Bray's The Diviners, but that's way more paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
So like I would read this book, and if you really liked the paranormal aspect, then try that book. Like take the next step up, because that one is like the mystery situation, but everybody's got like these different powers, and like there's this really bad supernatural force trying to destroy the city. So if you like this one, then if you would like something more intense, then try The Diviners, and then see about Frozen Charlotte as well that we reviewed. Yes. But yeah, this one's a unique mix of the paranormal and mystery thriller, so we would highly recommend.
And if you like, also if you have other suggestions, if you like horror, thriller, that kind of stuff, a couple of young adults books are Natasha Preston's books are all really good.
Yeah.
And then of course R.L. Stine, because R.L. Stine is indie.
Yes, and Hidden Pictures is actually an adult.
Yes.
But I think that it's readable for young adult as well. I don't think it's too bad.
It was an easy read.
Yes. And then it wasn't as, and honestly, The Diviners is young adult, and it's a lot more intense and like explicit than this one was. So this is a good transition book for sure for all of that. I would say like Nine Elms, if you take the paranormal out of it, is similar kind of to this. Robert Brinza in any way is really good for like a serial killer situation thriller, kind of like that.
Yeah.
And that's all adult. So there's young adult recommendations and adult recommendations for you. So we liked it. This was a good, refreshing, different thing that we picked up for sure.
It was. And we do have this book. I believe we have it. Do we have it on Hoopla?
We have it on Libby as an ebook and an audiobook. And then we have it in regular print in the library.
Yes. And I am going to return it today. So you guys can check it out.
Yeah.
Yes. And then next episode we have coming out is on May 4th. And that is going to be The Measure by Nikki Ehrlich.
Nikki
Ehrlich.
Yes. I always get that messed up.
Yeah. And that's going to be with our boss, Trisha. So that'll be really fun. That was a really good book.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
And that was something also that is really refreshing because I didn't think that we would like it.
No, yeah, I did not.
And it's like magical realism. So you should pick that book up now.
Yes.
And think about it, because I really think that you're going to have a lot of questions, a lot of things to discuss. This is the book that you want for your book club. So pick it up now, and then you can listen to the podcast at your book club.
And then we are going to be reading The Luminaries.
Yes.
And that is by... Let me look.
We had it, and then we forgot. Well, I haven't started this yet. I did read The Measure, and I actually read Hidden Pictures, too, so that's a record.
Yes. It's by Susan Dennard.
Yes.
Dennard or Dennard. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. I'm clearly very terrible with last names. So that is going to be a good one. I think that is kind of like a...
that's a young adult.
I think it's kind of like dark academia type
dark
vibes.
Academia fantasy kind of situation. I'm looking forward to it because the cover is stunning.
Yeah, and we do have a coworker who I suggested this book to. I got it for her for our book swap, and she said that it was good and she liked it. So
I'm looking forward to it. I haven't picked it up yet. And then after that, I think it's
we have our interview with Maureen Johnson.
Yes. So
And that's going to be
That's
really
going to be
cool.
pretty intense, and we're trying to read all 6.
Yes. I've read Truly Devious. Beth Ann's currently reading it right now. I really like Truly Devious. It's, if you really like the Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes or the Natural series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, I would highly suggest Truly Devious. It was really good. It's definitely like a huge cliffhanger. It does not wrap anything up in the end, so you do have to continue to the next book.
Okay, we'll
which
see how
is
I feel
smart,
about it.
which is very smart. So, yes, so join in on our next few episodes, and we hope you guys enjoyed this episode and have a great rest of your week.
Bye.
Bye.